All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Legend of the Galactic Heroes, episode 26, Depression. That's going to be me after this episode. I can just feel it.
We're going to paint the town red. Or rather, like the floor in front of
Kircheis, more like killed Heis.
Yep. Yeah. But, you know, he might be okay.
Yeah, watch. They'll just reveal that actually they have internal race shields around very important persons, places of thronage. So there's just this flame just kind of just dissipates around this whole thing, and then freaking Oberstein just is like, kawaii koto, and then just whips out his gun and pop.
Or Bittenfeld just runs up behind him and tears his throat out, and it's just like, oh, no, don't, nothing to worry about, sir.
Humiliation. Yeah, just like some kind of fatality.
No. He pulls out of his pocket and throws a wadded up pair of panties in between his vision, and it blocks his view, so he misses.
The goddess of victory does not smile upon you this day. Yeah. And then he pulls out his extra pair and puts it over his head, and then goes over and like beats the crap out of.
No, that's for the final battle. That's for the final battle. If Bittenfeld ever dies, it will be with panties on his head.
Oh my god! But y'all. The worst thing they could do this episode is just do an entirely Yang focused episode.
That
would be the worst.
That would be unacceptable.
So they're not going to do that. It's just the question of, based on how things are going out, who is getting hurt by this blast?
He might not die yet. He might linger in the hospital for a while. He might
get seriously injured. So y'all, I can't take the suspense anymore. So without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here for the discussion.
All right.
We are saying goodbye to our red boy.
Yep.
To our bro. To Kircheis. The most, I would say, the most wholesome of boys, and at least I would say the thing that kind of I was surprised that he was able to do in his short span of time on this show is he got to actually shake hands with Julian. Like, do you think, like, just the idea that, in terms of the one who had the most connection to Yang in the Empire, it was the first one that died.
Which makes total sense, because, well, I mean, okay, it could go either way. If that's either foreshadowing for long-term stuff, or they don't have much time to be able to interact with Yang in the future. Right. So we're going to have this character interact with all the major players over there, so that at least happens at one point.
Yeah. But just the fact that okay, what I really liked about the death scene was that we have this guy Ansbach. He comes in prepared.
Yes.
Now, what
suicide pill and ring lasers and
What I think is something that Oberstein is doing a very good job of turning this into, because on some level this is a political show. Is he's saying the one who stands to gain the most from this is Lichtenlad, which is right. However, he's denying in some ways, in a lot of ways, the very obvious motivation as to why this person went to go and kill Lohengrin. He yelled it at the very bit there. Is that Oberstein didn't address the fact that this was able to happen. That's actually the part that's weird.
Yeah.
So, if we just assume, which I think he kind of is because he had no part in it, in my opinion.
And also probably because he was also convincing the Admiralty that they needed to get rid of Lichtenlad, which is something that Reinhard would have wanted to do anyway.
Which is something also that he wants to do. Right.
Exactly.
So he's basically seeing, I could not have predicted this. Like Oberstein is like, I could not have predicted this.
But we can use this.
So he's going to use it in true manipulative fashion.
Yep.
He works his magic. However, there is still a possibility that you brought up about there being potential moles or people that, might be some people that you need to just keep an eye out for.
Because I could be getting this wrong, but there was someone else with
You're talking about Fahrenheit.
Yeah, Fahrenheit. Yeah.
He was with the Braunschweig whole group of people, the Lipstadt League.
Right, and if I recall correctly, he was talking specifically with the guy that forgetting his name.
No, because he was one of the ones that was talking with Flagel.
Okay, but there was a
when
guy
things were falling apart.
Okay, but there was a guy that was talking with the assassin, right? When they were talking about this isn't the end. We'll make sure that the blonde brat pays and all that stuff.
Yeah, we can go back and check on that, but I'm 99% sure that wasn't Fahrenheit.
Okay,
so we can go back and check on that in between this episode and the next episode. But that's a good thing to bring up.
But basically, that someone else is still out there.
Right, exactly. So big part of this though is that Ansbach comes in with his seemingly one way of doing this, and freaking badass Kircheis misdirects it, which I'm really glad happened.
Yep.
Basically showing that, hey, you revealed your hand, and you ended up losing here. Kircheis just, that's so good.
Yep.
But the best gut punch here, and I'm so glad they did it this way, is that if you're a competent assassin, you don't have just one die roll that you use. Yeah. No, why didn't he use that thing? It's probably because it's short range, really.
Or it's maybe not as... I mean, he could theoretically miss or whatever. Like he probably...
Oh, sure, it's hard to aim.
Yeah, it's harder to aim, and it probably needs to be something where you get that surprise
sight
shot.
for a ring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the fact that it was such a viscerally violent way for Kircheis to go, because when he shot at him the first time, I'm like, oh, shoot! I'm like, that's devastating! Just a laser at point blank.
But cool. Wait, it's high up. It probably missed the heart,
Yeah, maybe he has some lung damage, but I could see that's recoverable.
Yeah.
2 seconds later, poof,
literally. The part where it's like, if that, like, the exact probably most lethal part that laser could have hit. Like,
and the other part that I thought was really just horrifying here is that whatever that thing is, I almost have to assume that there's some projectile aspect to it. Either that, or it's such a specific type of plasma energy that it boiled the blood instantly, to the point where basically it not only severed and broke the skin in like a cut here, it rapidly forced it out, like in an explosive manner. Because if it's just as I would understand, my limited understanding of what that would be, it would just make a hole and then it would leak out slowly. It wouldn't be there wouldn't be an actual bit of projectile or something.
I believe the carotid artery is the biggest artery that is or one of the biggest arteries in the human body.
Yes, it's one of the most
so there would
blood,
be there would be a lot of
pressure there.
There would be pressurized
I'm with you,
sport.
But it went everywhere. It went everywhere. And what I loved about this was that, we joked in between this episode and the previous one of, everything's gonna be painted red.
Yeah.
And oh my God, was that the case?
I mean,
our boy basically died 30 seconds after that.
Yep.
And it's just brutal because yes, they are in an advanced civilization with crazy medical technology and stuff like that.
And yet they're still squishy meat sacks.
And yet they're still squishy meat sacks where if that was to
Memento
happen...
Mori, Yeah.
Yep. In a weird way, because of how much form and kind of a desire to look a certain way within the Empire, I'll bet you this potentially could have had a higher chance of being saved in the Alliance than the Empire. Just something tells me on some level that because they're so much about everything must be formed a certain way, we stand specific sections and all that.
Oh, that
there was a chance for his life to be saved if he wasn't in a system that was like this. I don't know. That's just a random observation.
Gotcha.
I'm just wondering because we're in a sci-fi, so we don't know what the rules are as far as to what could save
personal
him or
protection and things like that.
No, just the capacities of the medics and hospitals and stuff like that here.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know. But I gotta say, if you want to have a death in a sci-fi where they theoretically could have some pretty crazy medical technology out there, that would make sense for them to have it. That was one of the best definitive ways to have him die in a way that isn't just he gets blown up or whatever.
Right. Right. It's the you're human kind of reminder.
Yeah.
And it's harsh and it's instant. It's cruel. Well, it's not even cruel. It's just there's no cruelty to it. It just is.
It's cold.
It's cold. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
Yep.
And then of course the painful part of all this is that all these admirals are bickering about the way things should be handled here. Reinhard is so dumbfounded and just shaken up by this that he's not even moving or saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was angry in the immediate sense for this because I was like, no, Reinhard, this is your boy dying. You need to be there for him right now. And then you see him like stumbling out of his chair like, no.
Yep.
No.
His entire world just ended right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, that was...
Yep.
That was painful. I like that this was well foreshadowed. Not this specific event
like
necessarily.
Of the way it would happen.
Right. Well, I mean, we knew that there would be someone that
would make an assassination attempt and all that.
Well, no, someone I would say that... Yes. I mean, we knew that Ansbach specifically was going to, but I meant we knew that someone would either provide an opportunity for Ansbach to do that, or Ansbach would basically try and fail. But the fact that it would happen so quickly after the previous stuff, and it would work so ridiculously well in that one of the admirals died from this.
Yep.
Like, that just pisses me off on so many levels.
Yeah.
So many levels.
I gotta say, though, again, I really love the idea that... Because he still had the freaking ring laser, right? But Kircheis didn't let go. He kept a hold of his wrist, right?
Oh,
and then eventually they were able to get the ring off. So
and didn't it look like he almost broke his arm in the act of trying to...
Oh God,
yeah. So check this out. So he gets hit, he goes down,
right?
As he falls down, his arm's broken.
Wow.
Check that angle.
Yeah.
So Reinhard, Kircheis in that moment there is being like wrestled away from this whole thing.
Yeah, he's gripping his arm so strongly that... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when he falls down to the side here, they're all restraining Ansbach.
Snap, breaks bone.
Yeah. Yeah, the very cool detail to show that this was specifically the hand that had
the ring
on it.
Yep.
And
I
want to know if they actually... Oh, yeah, his fingers contorted there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it broke there.
Like, it even broke the cloth. Like,
yeah.
Like, that makes me think that, like, bone came out of there. Like...
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, in terms of just a good boy that just died
he died
way
as he lived.
Too soon.
A badass. And,
yeah.
And someone that looked out for Reinhard. And the thing is that this kind of a thing is something that they established since like the very beginning of the show.
Yeah.
That if there was a way that Kircheis was going to die, it was going to be protecting Reinhard, and the only question was when.
When.
You know? Because like
I just wanted to be around episode like 70.
Exactly. Even with the whole thing of Reinhard in school and being too quick to make enemies, you know?
Sure.
And then Kircheis sort of mentioning that, like, maybe you should try being a bit more diplomatic sometimes, you know? And here we go. And in a lot of cases, this is an aspect of Reinhard's not his inability to, or his unwillingness to be diplomatic, but his ambition. You know, he wants the universe, and he's, you know, walking the path of the cobblestone road of bodies. You know, some of them eventually will be people you know.
What I feel like, just to continue this kind of storyline thing, is that what I love is that Reinhard very much like forsakes his command. He kind of reneges on his duties there.
Yep.
But what I really like was that when he talks to his sister brings up the fact that the life path that you're going on is one that I cannot be involved in.
Right.
And what I think is really important here is that there are a couple things in context that we need to consider.
Mm-hmm.
The main one is that Kircheis died.
Right.
The main one is that. Now, what I think is important, though, is that Kircheis dying is something that, I mean, his sister is smart.
Mm-hmm.
She knows on some level that it was something where Reinhardt's actions indirectly led to this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Reinhard didn't intend this, even in the slightest bit.
Absolutely not.
But there is another action that Reinhard has rumors surrounding him at this point. One that is a big news kind of thing. And even though majority of people see it as the reason as to why the nobles had to all be exterminated. I'll bet, again, his sister is also a little bit smarter than that. So she's starting to see things escalate. And as things escalate, oh my God, his closest friend, literally like his love, like his brother, dies. I think she's smart and put 2 and 2 together and said, you know what? I'm actually going to be more helpful to him and to myself
if I'm far away.
If I'm far away from this situation.
And I'm glad that there was the subtext of like, oh, is she like, or to what degree is she maybe upset with Reinhard? But then at the same time, she says, if you ever need help, if you ever need someone,
if you're ever weary,
it's
such a good line.
Then yes, come to me, right?
I am available to you,
right?
But I will only be available to you, because I think what the really scary point is that she sees in some ways maybe about 3 steps further ahead, because then Rubinsky in the later part is talking about how it's so close to get, tough to get close. To the blonde
brat,
the blonde Alexander the Great over there,
right?
Literally, the easiest way to get close to him is but she's isolating herself in a country home. Anyone with a slight desire could eventually, given enough time, find her, use her, and problems. And she has been used in, her past and stuff like that. So I think she's very much going to move away from that. But my prediction is that she can't. She cannot separate herself entirely from this. There is going to come a point where Reinhard is brought down to a low place, and yet he will not go to her. And then she is going to have to come to him. And whether or not that's a really direct way of literally physically going to him, or if it's just taking part in the stage play, stepping onto the stage and doing something.
Or just having a Zoom call, like...
Yes. I think on some level, though, this is something where it's a temporary removal from the story. But when she comes back, she's going to come back hard into the story. Whether it's going to be...
Positive or negative. Holy crap. I loved all the stuff that was done with the Admiralty of them having their conversation without Reinhard or Oberstein there. The way they talked about Oberstein, they can see like, hey, he's kind of a, know. But also it was something where anytime you have a group of people in authority talking about what they're going to do, and it doesn't include the current person in authority, that can go into different directions, right?
So, indeed.
Now, granted, it wasn't talking about it in that way at all, right? They weren't talking about doing some coup or anything like that. They were still very much being like, all right, Reinhard, these are his interests. These are what we need to figure out. We need to get him back in the game. That was their number one priority, right? And then later, when Ruenthal goes and talks to Reinhard, he specifically brings up, hey, I was 10 when I went into the academy or whatever. So, if they're under 10, that's fine. And incompetent rulers deserve to be overthrown. And that goes for you too. When it comes to the point where you realize you think, you can do better than me, I welcome the challenge, and he's like, sure, you're kidding, right?
Like, you jest.
Yeah, you jest, right? And he's like, no, and it's one of those things where I love the way that balance is struck, because on the one hand, all of the admirals think of Reinhard so highly, and that they're like, yeah, we're with you, like, and we don't want to be on our own, right? We had an opportunity to be on our own if we wanted to just now, right? But that's not what we desire, right?
No, we've enjoyed the camaraderie and the aspect of being able to make a change that we agree with for the most part, in a way that leads to all of us being used as soldiers in a way that we feel is worthy. Like we're like, you're worthy of us serving you.
Exactly.
And I think this is kind of the difference of what was kind of the case with regards to both the Alliance and the Empire, was that the soldiers were the ones that were being treated as either political pawns by the Alliance, just numbers. million died so that we must continue the fight. The crusade continues. And then in the Empire's side, it was like, oh, we have a ambitious noble? All right, I'm going to send, 250,000 troops to enact my will and die. Braunschweig, tens of millions, Like, they're looking at just rampant corruption and just absolute lunacy, the way Merkatz described it, of a poison of the mind. They're like, hell no do we want to go back to the way things were.
Right.
We're absolutely okay with not only you being in charge of the political side of things so that we get put into situations where we feel like we're doing something that's meaningful, but also a tactical leader so that we are actually getting a very high chance of coming back out of this alive.
Right.
Like, that's the thing that's really crazy is how young so many of these characters are because, in this kind of a war, there's not going to be very many old people.
Nope.
Like, people don't last that long.
Which, again, Braunschweig, why didn't you listen to Merkatz, you stupid dingus?
Yeah, seriously.
But
okay, we went through and did a little bit of recap on a bunch of the characters in different areas. Big one. We went back and double checked. It doesn't look exactly like Flegel.
Yeah, so it's probably a new character.
But
if they wanted to have it be
Flegel did flee to the Fezzan Dominion.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit wrong in how I interpreted the event. So there is someone that is going to be the new treasurer in Odin.
Right, and they're leaving
to go there. But the replacement is this new character who bears a resemblance.
That narrow face, pointy chin, and like
hairstyle,
and
specific kind of
punchable face.
Yeah. Does he look like a bitch? Yes. It very much makes me think that it is Flegel assuming a different identity.
Yep. Because he's a weasel, and you want to have a weasel survive.
Yes,
right?
I think it is very apropos as well that Flegel being one of the first personal antagonists for Reinhard in the beginning parts of the show, it would make a lot of dramatic sense from a writing perspective
for
to
him to
have him stick around as long as possible so that he can have some moment of comeuppance on the Empire and Reinhardt, where when Fezzan becomes a bigger player, Flegel will have gone through a little bit of a transformation. Maybe he's a little bit more competent, a little bit more confident as well.
Well, I don't think he can get more confident. But...
Right. But then specifically gets, put into a situation where he's against Reinhardt there. Now, could be a completely different character.
Totally could.
Totally could. Yep. But now we have specifically two spies, one going to each side for Rubinsky to basically have his hands more directly on the pulse of what's going on with Yang and Reinhardt. With Reinhardt, he's got his person that will go in there as a commissioner.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, Boltic, awesome. Decent guy. He's the secretary. Who does
he have in the alliance?
Who he has in the alliance is Boris Konev. Boris Konev was that.
That's right. Yeah,
that merchant guy that was hanging out with the other guy, and he was there again. But he's specifically a childhood friend
of Yang's.
Yeah. So what's cool here, though, is that they're somewhat confirming a little bit that as of now, Fezzan did not have really good spies in the midst of the two sides because of probably all the tumultuous craziness that happened recently. He's like, everything got cleaned out. We have to reset things and go back to normal. What I think is good about that, though, is it tells us in some ways the way the show will handle spies in general is that they'll continue the third-person omniscient perspective because there's just so many locations and things.
Right.
They don't want to have it be a thing where the audience is completely kept in the dark regarding, who's affiliated with who. I mean, but they could still do that if they wanted to.
One of the other things they did this episode that I thought was kind of cool here is because Kircheis is gone, Reinhardt started thinking about how alone he was.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of, well, maybe Yang, hey Yang, maybe you can be my frenemy, like rival, someone that I can look on as a peer. And that's just more foreshadowing for when they eventually meet.
Yeah. I liked also Yang kind of bringing up Trunit again and realizing this guy's a cockroach. He just keeps avoiding the damage from these crazy storms. How does he do it? And, before you know it, he's going to be exercising even more authority. And he's like, the idea that a democracy gave a man this much power, he's like, it terrifies me. And he's like, well, wait, what? I have a crazy thought. What good is a democracy if it gives power to a man like that?
And how much of that is exactly what all the dictators in the past thought?
Yep, exactly. So it's a very creepy thing to have Yang kind of coming to terms with this idea of when an individual believes that they have a perfect perspective on the way things can change for the better, and enough people agree with them.
Crazy but instead of things can happen.
Yeah, but think about the fact that that is literally what Braunschweig and the USMC or what have you did.
Yeah,
or the United Military
United Salvation Military Council. Or
I think it was UMSC. That's what it was. They basically did the same thing, and Yang bringing that up of like, do you think Lowengram is like that too? Oh no, Julian's like, do you think Lowengram is like that too? And then he just has his, just staring out into space of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But like, that's such a good, just simple narrative hook for the characters to kind of be thinking about each other and realizing, I don't know where the chips are going to land. I don't know, what's going to happen 10 years from now.
Right.
I don't know how maybe in some ways what would happen, 100 years from now when historians are looking back at us and our decisions and thinking back on, that was a good call.
Because if you did know, it probably wouldn't be called The Legend of the Galactic Heroes, like if it was super cut and dry and simple and all that stuff. It's like
all you people that have watched the show are like, only they knew. But hey, y'all, if you want to see us watch the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yep, I wrote a sci-fi novel. It's called Battle Lines. It's pretty awesome, and it's on Amazon for purchase. Link in the description down below.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.